Powered by Sports Interaction, Canada Sportsbook.
Well, it was a scoreline probably better suited for Labor Day than for May long weekend, but we have a pretty amazing game to break down for you here on Game Over Calgary. I'm Peter. He is Audie. That was that, and we will break it all down here on Game Over Calgary. It was game one of the Battle of Alberta in the Western Conference semifinal. With the Flames now up 1-0 in the series, can the Oilers bounce back to tie up the series? Heading back to Calgary for game two, ask our friends over at Sports Interaction. Doing it right since 1997, Sports Interaction is Canada's sportsbook. With the most competitive odds, Sports Interaction makes it easy to deposit, play, and cash out before the game starts, live in play, or how your favorite player will perform. Matthew Tkachuk performed in this one today. I don't know if you can bet on how many chirps one can have or how many hats Keith Tkachuk will throw on the ice. We'll see if we can work that in for game two. See all sports betting has to offer. Join now at sportsinteraction.com/SDPN. That's sportsinteraction.com/SDPN. 19 years or older, please play responsibly. I hope you took over 14.5 tonight. If you waited a little bit, I think it was at around 16.5. You could get the under there. But Audie, that was one of the craziest just things, not even hockey games, just things that these eyeballs have ever seen.
There's a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
A lot of things that happened. There was a lot of goals, which was pretty evident by the final score there, 6 or 9-6. So beyond the we want 10 chance, it was a crazy atmosphere. It looked like it was unreal. I watched the first two periods at the bar and then came home. But my goodness, man,
yeah,
I can't remember the last time I've watched a hockey game that was that intense, like from start to finish. And the Oilers made it a hockey game.
Yes, they did. I would suggest they had a bit of help in that venture, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But yeah, talk about the number of things we have to talk about in this game. It feels like Mike Smith was the starting goalie back in 1991. That's how long ago all of that madness was going on. But I just first and foremost, because there are different things to break down, and there's a couple holes to pick in this game. That was an incredible performance from the Flames. From the people who weren't wearing goalie pads, I thought the Flames played an incredible hockey game.
Oh, one of the best, if not the best, complete effort from, like you said, everybody not wearing goalie pads in this playoff so far. How many did Coleman finish with? 2?
Yep.
Chuck finished with 3. Brett Ritchie chipping in, it was everybody. Brett Ritchie, really? I did a double take. I was like, who got that? Oh, Brett Ritchie. You're gonna let Brett Ritchie do that to you?
Yeah.
But my God, man, yeah, everybody was chipping in. It didn't quite matter which line or which role you were playing. Everybody chipped in. It was fun to watch.
It really was. It's funny that going into game 7, we did the pregame show on here and said, you know what, we really need Matthew Tkachuk to step up. He's now tied for the team lead in goals this playoffs with 4. He done stepped. He was that first line. I mean, really, I'm going to pinpoint this guy. Well, let's go the whole line. Let's just go the whole team again. Because the top line was flying. That shift where they were just doing a bunch of just handoffs on the cycle up top, that was just playing with your food. And then this was easily the best that the Coleman line has played. I thought Dylan Dubé played the best of anyone who didn't score tonight. And Lucic was Lucic. Lewis had some defensive plays that were really good. As you mentioned, Brett Ritchie scored, got worked on the goal, but he scored. And when you can just have a net even, then that works well. And it's weird to say about a game where you gave up 6. I thought they defended pretty well considering who they're playing against. I thought a lot of the 6 was more on Markstrom. I really feel like this is a complete team effort from the Flames, but it all starts with the guys at top, and that's Matthew Tkachuk and company on this night.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head perfectly. And to talk about Trevor Lewis too, who I think played a fantastic game. That 2-on-1 with Milan Lucic, the patience that he had. Oh, when he kind of gets around Koskinen and then fires the puck across. Lucic obviously was just looking for the pass and the tap in, but Lewis, my goodness, the creativity and on that play too didn't lead to a goal, but it had me holy smokes, here we are. Yeah, Trevor Lewis has shown up, but man, yeah, everybody, like you said about Dylan Dubé too, probably one of the hardest working to not be on the score sheet. But it was a good game. And you look at a 9-6 score and you think, well, how can one team be dominant. It was a 3-goal game, and you scored 15 goals in the entire game. But the Flames were, for the better part of this hockey game, the more dominant team.
Mhm.
So it was nice to see. It was exactly what I wanted to see from a Game 1 Battle of Alberta. And I don't know, you couldn't have drawn it up any better. I know it's been 31 years since we've had this, but my God, we're playing 1980s hockey all over again.
It really felt like that. Like
Right?
there was, I mean, again, one of the hallmarks, bad goaltending.
Yeah.
But you had that, like there was physicality. We had the little Donnybrook at the end of the game that's going to lead, I think, to a little bit more bad blood in game 2. That there was a lot of, I think, kind of key moments in this game. Like obviously the fast start was incredible. It's 2-0. They're a minute in. They used their timeout 51 seconds into the hockey game.
Crazy.
Which I can't remember that one. Like I've seen a lot of this sport that felt like a new one to me, but I thought, and this is again a weird thing to say, after the Oilers tied it at 6, I thought Calgary's answer was really, really good because they had every reason to just kind of fold up shop there. Like Edmonton is going, McDavid looks excellent, Draisaitl is dangerous, Yamamoto's contributing. Like here come the Oilers. You've just blown a 4-goal lead. If you lose this game, it's the 5th time in history that's ever happened. And the Flames responded, and it was just like bang, bang, and it was back to being, hey, we're the better team here. Let's not forget that. I thought a tremendous response to what adversity the Flames did have to face in this game.
Yeah, and I'll be honest with you, I was shaking in my boots a little bit when they tied it up at 6. I was like, "There's no way, there's no way. Like this team deserves a better fate than being tied 6-6 in this hockey game." And we'll talk about Markstrom a little bit in a bit here, but everybody up front did what they had to do. And you mentioned not taking your foot off the gas or whatever hockey cliche you want to put into attributing to that, but yeah, just a hell of a game. It was. A lot of fun, edge of my seat. Yeah, it was good. And it's a shame the red lot didn't happen tonight because I feel like so many people would have been able to experience that energy outside as well. Due to the wind in Calgary, there was no red lot tonight, but would have been nice. I mean, sucks that people didn't get to go, but there's going to be more hockey in this series, so we'll get more red lots.
Before we transition out of this, I'm imagining there's a couple of thoughts in the chat. Someone on Twitter saying, so goaltending was a bit of a factor, wouldn't you say? I would agree with that. Yeah, I would say goaltending or lack thereof played a role in this one. I would suggest, and I brought it up a couple of times, I think we just go 6-on-6 for the next game. Just let's see what happens.
Yeah, that'd be fun, right?
Yeah.
On the topic of goalie, Brian saying here in the chat, if Markstrom can pull it together for a whole 60 and our offense performs like that, game over. I see what he did there. That's a good one. Almost as many goals tonight as they had in the entire first round, which I think they probably beat their goal total for the first round.
It took them till game 5 to get 9.
Okay.
So which is
so that's
hilarious.
It's nuts. Like that's nuts.
Yeah.
But I guess that's what happens when you go from Jake Ottinger, when you're peppering him with shots and he's stopping everything, to a tandem of Mike Smith and Mikko Koskinen.
Yeah.
You'll get 2 goals in the first 59 seconds of the hockey game or whatever that was. Conrad says, so Stuart Skinner for the Oilers in game 2.
Look, I love the goalie cycle that's going on because it's just more potential opponents when we eventually get a goalie fight. Like you can get like a couple of different, like Mike Smith's gonna fight somebody at some point in this series, but like Koskinen I think could be a special kind of crazy. I feel like you could get Markstrom going. I don't know about my boy Darth Vlader in there, Dan Vladar, but
I feel like he'd be an underdog.
Yeah.
Like so he looks so quiet.
Yeah,
it's like dangerously quiet. I don't know.
I feel like there could be something going on there. I do want to touch on what that one comment said about how like this is the difference from going from Smith to Ottinger, and how hilarious all the jokes were that we were able to make at the beginning of this. But it is kind of like some people were using weightlifting terminology, which this may surprise you is over my head a little bit. But when you're playing baseball, and like sometimes you'll see the guys who just have like a big iron rod out in the batting circle or whatever. And I would always just use like 3 or 4 bats because I wanted to look cool, but it makes the bats feel heavier. And then you go up there and the bat's super light and you can get more bat speed. That's kind of what this game was, where it's like you have this weight that's dragging you down, but then you use that same effort and you get 9. in this game. Like it really was. I was quite impressed that the Flames brought that same intensity, that same compete level. They were winning everything along the wall, and they were creating opportunities off of that. And it was just the stuff that wasn't going in on Ottinger was going in on Smith/Koskinen. But I love that the Flames just carried over what they did well in the last series into this series, and they kicked the crap out of the Oilers in it.
I think that's the best part about it, is that they didn't skip a beat whatsoever. Mm-hmm. Like they played the exact same that they did in the first series against Dallas, which, we talked about it a little bit in that series too, was, if they play like they've played this entire series against Dallas, eventually against the Edmonton Oilers, it's like we called that something like this would happen. Like they're going to score a lot more goals on Mike Smith and Mikko Koskinen than they did against Jake Ottinger, who in your terminology was the bat donut in the on deck circle, compared to actually stepping up to the plate. But yeah, it was they didn't miss a beat. They played the exact same, which was fun. That's the hockey that we love to see them play. Everybody stepped up. Everybody contributed. Yeah. It was just all around really good, and I enjoyed it. I know you did as well. Just a couple quick notes here as well. White knuckled win, but the nice part is this is going to put the rest of the league on notice for what the series is going to be like. And I love that comment, because I feel like not a lot of people outside of these two markets really know a whole heck of a lot about the Battle of Alberta or what it means. Right. But when you've got, like, to drop some names, David Ambers and the Frank Saravallis and the big insiders at this series, like they're coming to the Calgary Edmonton Battle of Alberta for the second round, it's kind of putting it on notice. So I'm hoping that this series gets a lot more exposure to other markets who maybe haven't been able to follow it up to this point. I mean,
it's getting the Steve Dangle watch along treatment. So you know big things are happening.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, can't really watch the other TV covers, so leave it at that. Sorry if you're watching, Steve.
But yeah, like this was it was just kind of a nice like tone setter, like, hey, by the way, rest of the league, because I thought like the first couple of games of the Dallas series sucked, right? Like it was low event hockey. It was just it was barely hockey. It was just kind of the puck bounced around a little bit and then we called it a night. Right. But I thought the last couple of games were actually pretty entertaining, but everyone kept dumping on the series like, no, this is actually pretty good. And now this is going to carry. The next game could be 1-0 with 4 shots in the whole game, and this would still be a net positive for the entertainment value of this series. I don't know if that's the pace that the Flames want to keep up this whole time, though. I'm sure they'll take 9, but when you look at like how you want games to be played, I don't know if that's necessarily the style that Calgary is looking to play in this series.
No, and I would be anxious. Like I said, I haven't said yet, but came right down here to start recording right pretty much after I saw the last little bit of that game. So I didn't get to see or hear about anything Daryl Sutter has said, but I would imagine he's probably not happy with the way this game ended. You could see him on the bench after, like you said there, with that little incident with Cassian and Lucic. You could see him on the bench and he just didn't look impressed. And, you could chalk that up to Daryl being Daryl, or the fact that he was actually kind of pissed. Yeah. I would tend to go with the latter, knowing how this coach is.
Well, and I think that message was received in the locker room after. Matthew Tkachuk's I'm assuming at the podium right now, and said of this game, not good, probably our worst game of the playoffs.
And he had a hat trick.
Yeah, that from someone who had a hat trick. Right. And quite frankly, was rather putrid the first 6 games of the last series. Yeah. Look, I disagree with that. I think, like I said before, I think the Flames played really, really well. And we've gone about 15 minutes on the program, and I've been dancing around it the whole time. We have to talk about Jacob Markstrom.
We do. Yeah.
Like this is 3 games that are, I guess he was pretty good in game 7, especially late when Dallas had a couple of chances in overtime. But like it never felt like peak Jacob Markstrom during that series. And tonight he was just bad. Like he was quite bad.
Yeah. I don't know what you chalk that up to. I mean, it's tough because this guy's a Vezina finalist. Mm-hmm. This isn't the type of game we expect him to play, but both of the Hyman goals, I think he wants back. The first McDavid goal, there's not much you're doing. That's just a lucky, the puck spurts back right onto the stick of the best player on the planet and has all the patience in the world, goes 5-hole. Nothing you can do about that one. but those two Hyman goals, I know he wants back. He had a couple pieces on some that went in, but I don't know what it is. If it was the jitters, if it was the fact that this is, a pretty big series against a pretty big opponent, or, it could have been a lot of different things. We don't know. We're not him. We're not in the room. We don't know what's going on there. But the fact of the matter is, like, ideally, you don't let in. Well, normally you don't let in 6 goals and still win the hockey game.
Yes.
Right. So, I mean, he's got to give some stick taps and some love to the guys up front who got the job done and, quite frankly, bailed them out.
Yeah. Ottinger is just like sitting watching this game. He's like, oh, now you let in 6.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, great. I stopped 67 the other night.
Exactly.
I loved it when they had 2 goals on 3 shots. I looked it up. If the Flames had scored on 66% of their shots against Ottinger, they would have had 44 the other night. So it was quite the shooting gallery there. But no, like he was not good. And the thing that worries me, and they brought it up on the broadcast with Amber and Rudy sitting up there, this is the most hockey he's ever played. Even like some of the playoff years with Vancouver, he maxed at 60, and we're at game 71 for him right now. And that's like, we're at a point now where it is game on, day off, game on, day off. You're not getting, unless the Flames, are sweeping the series, you're not getting an extended period of time off until someone is lifting that trophy over their head at the end of this thing. And if it's going to be the Flames, that dude needs to be on his game. And so if he is wearing down now, there's still a lot, 11 wins that you need to get if you want to get to the final destination of this whole thing. That is my concern right now. Is I was worried about this during the year. I thought there was some times where they could have got him some rest as the season went along. They didn't, and now I'm in a spot where I'm worried about it.
Yeah, that was going to be my follow-up question to you was, what were your thoughts? Because Twitter, lots of people on Flames Twitter were on the same train, right? The why play him? Like, some of them were not meaningless down the stretch, in the sense that, they'd already clinched a playoff spot. I know they wanted to clinch the division, which they ended up doing. But like, there were just some games where, or playing back-to-backs. Like he's a couple times this year, he played both games in a back-to-back. Just, I don't know. I wish that he got a little bit more rest. I don't know if this is a product of just playing too much. Right. Or what the case may be. I guess we'll never truly know until the very end. But I'm not nervous, though. I'll say that I'm not worried. I hope that he kind of comes back and gets back to form here. But I wouldn't say I'm worried yet. The worry will come if there's a third round for this team and he still kind of looks like this. Yeah. Then it's you'll call it what it is. But I'm not quite pressing the panic button yet. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm not there yet. If it looks bad again in game 2, then I'm pushing the panic button. Like I've at least taken the plastic cover off of the panic button, and I'm looking at it for the next couple of days. But yeah, like it could be just like a weird game, and a couple people saying like playing down to the competition. I think it was Scorch Stack, and even if it isn't, a tremendous follow for Flames Twitter.
Fantastic.
But I believe it was them who was saying like, when you hear an orchestra and one person screws up and that screws up everyone else, that was just Markstrom watching Mike Smith at the other end saying like, oh, he screwed up, now I have to screw up. And screw up he did. But the Flames do come away with a 9-6 win. A couple more quotes. Daryl Sutter after the game. We were told it was a boring series last time, so I told the players yesterday, if we score 7 to 10 goals and they that they score 5 to 8, then we'd win. So Daryl Sutter is very much appreciating the humor of the situation, as he's a rather, like, it's very dry, but a rather sarcastic fellow.
Oh yes,
and that one's hilarious.
Yeah, no, he's good at that. Go with a couple comments, I guess, here. Catch up if I can to some of these lovely comments here. Here. Okay, let's start here. Charlotte is saying, do we risk playing Vladar then and give Markey the rest and take the L in game 2 if that means a better performance in game 3? No. There are no scheduled losses in the playoffs. No, I hear what you are saying, and I appreciate the thought, but I would not do that. That is playing with fire in this series. I don't want to give the Oilers any kind of momentum going into any game, especially you don't want to split at home.
Edmonton. No.
You don't want to split your home games too, right?
No.
Like you take advantage of those. You know what it's going to be like playing in Edmonton.
Yeah.
If you can come out with two wins at home, go into Edmonton with a 2-0 lead, even if you split that series at home and come back home, that's a good position to be in.
Right.
But scheduled losses, I do understand what you're saying, because I know your thought process is probably along the train of, Markstrom didn't get the rest that maybe a lot of people thought he needed during the regular season. So now you got to make up for lost time, but now is not the time to do that. I just don't think that's the way to go about it.
And it could have just been a bad game, right? Like they just had a few days off. Maybe he was rusty. Maybe he's used to playing too much, and it was too much rest. Like we'll never really know. But it is an interesting conversation. Like, is it just like a video game with a stamina bar? And if he would have taken off February 20th against Chicago or whoever, I'm just throwing out a date and a team. Mm-hmm. But if he would have taken off random game X, does that give him a bit more of a boop going into this one? Like how does that work? We won't know. Right. But I mean, look, they could have put Vladar in net in this one, and he could have held him to at least 8. So.
Well, that's what I was thinking. Like, do you think that maybe they should have put Vladar in for the third, or like a lot of people on Twitter were saying, why don't you? And they don't, but they still end up getting the win. But I don't know.
It's such a close game, right? Like
it is.
Do you feel more comfortable with 75% of Markstrom or with 100% of Vladar? I'm still with the guy who's going to Vegas as a Vezina nominee. Like it is difficult. And like, if this were the regular season, then 100% you sit him, and you probably sit him for the next game. But because this is the playoffs, and because it's winning time, and because like all of these guys are tired and everyone is hurt, you just kind of ask him, hey, pretty please, can you deal with it maybe a little bit better than you did in game 1?
Right. No, I agree with you here. One more quick one here from Conrad, and I think it's satire. I'm not sure. But says, Audie, what if we call up Wolf for game 3? That isn't a scheduled loss. That's a curveball with a black ace. Well, no.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he's joking around, because I know Conrad's he's a good dude, and I know he knows better than this. But yeah, no, I don't think, first of all, the Stockton Heat are in a very deep playoff run right now. Mm-hmm. So I don't think that losing him and putting that team at a disadvantage that's not even the main point about why you don't bring up Dustin Wolf right now. But yeah, very, very, very evident that he doesn't have a whole lot of NHL experience. So no chance, I would say, that we see Dustin Wolf in this series. So
I feel pretty good.
Conrad,
interaction.
I will follow up that Conrad did say totally a joke, which I figured it was. So yeah, glad that we were able to clarify here. Sorry, one more. The 9-5 game in the regular season was 6-5 going into the third, I believe. Chose to leave Markstrom in then too. Fair point. Yeah. Yep. Fair point. And I wasn't trying to make a point or a case to put Vladar in, but I just want to ask the question, because a lot of people were asking that question on Twitter going into the third period.
Oh yeah, if they would have done it, if they would have put Vladar in going into the third, I wouldn't have flipped my kitchen table over or anything like that. Like it would have been
justified.
It would have been a legitimate response to what you had seen so far. It wouldn't have been the response I would have had, but it would have been a legitimate response to what was going on. On the Oilers side of things, I know, like, Wayne Gretzky is the greatest hockey player of all time. This is agreed upon. But for my age bracket, and I know I'm a bit older than you are, the Gretzky that I remember was New York Rangers Gretzky. So I didn't really get peak Wayne Gretzky. I got him looking at his best in that fantastic Statue of Liberty jersey. But I didn't get peak Wayne Gretzky. I have never seen a player who is more dangerous with the puck than Connor McDavid. Like when he touches the puck and something amazing doesn't happen for the Oilers, I am stunned. He was everywhere in this game and played almost a perfect hockey game, I thought. Like it pains me to give credit to anything Oilers on this Calgary-based podcast.
Yeah.
But dude,
he was good.
Unbelievable.
And we shouldn't have expected any different.
Right.
He's got, I think now he had 4 points tonight.
Yeah.
14 points coming into this game. I put him up to 18 in 8 playoff games, or 8 games so far this playoff, which is disgusting.
Yeah.
On the topic of Gretzky, I was 3 when he retired, so I don't remember much about watching Gretzky. But obviously watching highlights and watching McDavid now, like in NHL when you get those special what do they call them, the X factors.
Yeah,
that guy's got to have I don't know if he does or not, but the puck on a string, like that guy puts the puck wherever he wants.
Yeah, I think he just has all the X factors, even the goalie ones.
Every single X factor. Like he's a literal cheat code. His HUD card has to be 99 at the start of next year for how good this man is.
Yeah,
they should honestly, side note, just put his card to like 69, we'll say, at the start of the year, and then like by September he'll be a 95 or something. Anyways, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, just totally unrelated, but. Yeah, disgusting. Absolutely gross hockey player. Every time he touches the puck, I get a little bit more scared as a Calgary Flames fan and as someone who covers the team. It's frustrating. Or not frustrating. It's
terrifying.
It's not frustrating. It's terrifying. That's what it is. It's like it's scary because you don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah. But this is the thing. And again, it's weird to criticize a forward group that scored 6 tonight. Although I mean technically like Bouchard scored 1. It was McDavid. It was Draisaitl. We got some Hyman.
Yeah.
And that was it. Right. And this is what we talked about coming into the series. We ran through all 4 Flames forward lines and top line. Excellent. However you want to maneuver second and third line. Excellent. Excellent. Fourth line. Grading on a curve. Excellent. Mm-hmm. I forgot Jesse Puljujarvi was in the NHL until the third period when he took a shot. Cassian's main impact was taking a really bad penalty when the Oilers made it 5-2, then made the Flames take it to 6-2. Like, this is going to be a very difficult hill for Connor McDavid to climb if he is climbing alone. And it really feels like right now, aside from a couple of guys who are like kind of hanging out on his wings, he's climbing alone. Like there was not enough from anyone else in this game from an Oilers perspective for them to get over that hump. And I thought that was a real edge that Calgary had.
Well, the lack of supporting cast is nothing new for Connor McDavid and this iteration of the Edmonton Oilers, but it almost makes me feel for the guy, like for a little bit, like taking the Calgary bias and the Flames fan aside. Like I do feel for the guy because he is, far and away the best hockey player on the planet. And, this guy's had no supporting cast for what's he been in the league for probably 7 or 8 years now, right? Or probably anyway, regardless, 6 or 7, I don't know. But like this guy, like they need to get this man a supporting cast. Mm-hmm. Because otherwise, as the great Steve Dangle once said about Erik Karlsson, he is wasting the prime of his career like ripe fruit on a dead tree. So
yes,
you don't want to see that happen to someone with the God-given talent like Connor McDavid. As much as it pains me to say, as the Flames side of things come. So
yeah, I thought this was a lot of it was all of the issues that the Oilers were going to worry about in one game. And again, you give up 9, so probably, but it was lack of supporting cast. Their D-zone coverage was atrocious.
Very bad.
All night.
Did not exist.
The Flames had just a permanent residence right in front of whoever the goalie was and could just do whatever they want. They won every puck battle behind the net, which was able to create those opportunities. So defense for the Oilers, bad. And that's another thing we've talked about for forever and a day. And then goaltending, we've established, was less than ideal from an Oilers perspective. It was just like every box that we had favored for the Flames was just a giant red check mark on this night. And that's the reason why we're talking about a Game 1 Calgary win.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's everything you said there was bang on. Sorry, just a couple quick notes here. We got some people asking some questions here. Conrad asking, Peter Naughty, do you think we see any supplemental discipline after what happened at the end of the game? No matter how much I love seeing Luch drop Cassian, or no matter how much I loved seeing Luch drop Cassian, I'm worried. I don't think we do.
So. No. If that's going to get him suspended, then someone's going to get a lot more suspended, because that is the tip of the iceberg for what we are dealing with in this series. I think.
Yeah, buckle up if that's the bar you're going to set for suspensions, then buckle up. You're in for a rude awakening for the rest of the series as it goes on.
Yeah. No, I don't think there's going to be anything. And like I said, I think that we've only just begun.
Brian wants to know if you can hear the honking downtown still. It says it's still going strong. So I'm not sure if you plan on going to bed after this or not, but yeah, good luck if everybody's still honking.
Yeah, it wasn't quite as nice out tonight, so didn't have any windows open, so I could not hear the honking. But I would imagine that as blustery as it was, I think the Red Mile will be rather raucous tonight.
Damon says, I've never seen McDavid take a hit like any of those three he took early on. He's going to face a physical grind like he's never seen.
Yeah.
And I agree with. I would agree wholeheartedly with that statement there. They're going to, I mean, that's, I don't know. I feel like that's the only way you're going to really beat them.
Yeah. If you can catch him, hit him, right? Like
that's the only thing that he really kind of lacks. I mean, aside from that hit that Udi lay out in that, Sean Dursey. Was it game 7? Yes. He came out flying and he just took him out along the half wall there.
Well, you would think like something that moves that fast is going to do some damage, right? Like if he doesn't have to be our size. If he's going at 45 kilometers an hour, it's going to suck for whatever he runs into.
Yeah. It's the speed factor comes into consideration for sure. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like that's probably one of the ways you stop him. The Flames didn't even really do a good job of stopping him. He still had 2 tucks tonight. So, he showed up and the Flames really weren't able to contain him. But if you're going to put up more, hey, look, if it's a 6-9 game, McDavid has a hat trick, as long as you have 7 or 8s, I'm okay with it. Let's just get through this round and on to the next.
Yeah. And
not that the next opponent's going to be any easier.
Right. Potentially get to deal with Nathan McKinnon. So that'll be great.
Yeah. This is just the primer for that series.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then if you get, God willing, if you get past that one, maybe it's like Nikita Kucherov. So for however long the Flames are going to be in it, the goal lights are going to be well tested. That is for certain. A couple other things here before we put a bow on this one on a wild night here in Calgary. No Tanev. I think that was rather evident with the success that McDavid was able to have. I think not that they would have completely shut him down, but I think you can draw a straight line to didn't really have an answer for McDavid, but also didn't really have your best shutdown defenseman. Like that feels like a pretty easy point A to point B.
That's you partner that with the fact that I don't think Noah Hannafin had his best game as a Calgary Flame or in this playoffs. Not to say, well, he did actually force a turnover that led to an Oilers goal there. I think it was in the second period. Just a weak pass. He was trying to feed it in the neutral zone over to Anderson, but he didn't get everything on it, and it ended up turning over into an Oilers goal. You partner that with the fact that he didn't play well and Tanev wasn't in. That could be another thing that you can attribute this high scoring football game, pretty much football score. I know you're a football guy. It's a pretty low scoring football game, but football numbers will say. Yeah,
it was more lacrosse. It was more like the old Calgary Roughnecks. Well, the current Calgary Roughnecks against the old Edmonton Rush now out in Saskatchewan. But kind of had a lacrosse feel to it. Yeah,
I could feel that as well. But just a few things, like that blue line wasn't at their best, I don't think. Which funny enough, we talked about coming into the series is one of the strengths that the Flames had over Edmonton was the fact that their blue line was better. But I don't know. There's still lots of time. They come away with the win. I feel like maybe we're being a little bit too critical after a win. I don't want to sound like we're bitching about, the fact that this team just gave us a hell of an experience, first of all, like we said it was going to be. And they come away with the win. They lead in this series 1-0. So I don't want to be too critical. I want to enjoy it. And I want to be happy. There are just some small things, and I'm sure Daryl will address them, that the team needs to fix going into game 2.
Well, that's the thing. Like, it's easier to talk about the stuff that isn't going well, because then, okay, well, how do you adjust? Whatever. It's like, okay, well, Matthew Tkachuk was awesome. Next. Yeah. At some point it gets to be like, Mr. Burns, your campaign has the momentum of a runaway train. How do you do it? But that really what it was tonight. And we will fit. That is an excellent point, though. Let us finish on a high note. Once again, I thought the real strength of this game was their ability to roll 4 lines. And we haven't mentioned him by name yet. Blake Coleman.
Oh,
have a night, my guy.
That was fun to watch, man. Oh my God. He was that was what they brought Blake Coleman in for. That's exactly the role that I expected Blake Coleman to play when he came in. There were so many people complaining early on, he makes too much money, not enough production. He earned every single dollar tonight, as far as I'm concerned, That's playoff Blake Coleman. That's what Tampa Bay got for 2 playoff runs in a row. And that's the kind of hockey that he plays this time of year. And what a hell of a game he had.
Oh, yeah.
Lots of fun to watch him play.
Yeah.
Oh.
That line was a game changer. I thought when Edmonton was starting to make that comeback into this game, it was that line that was like, we're not losing this. And to your point, that is exactly why you bring in a Blake Coleman, someone with that championship pedigree. And you look at the guys with the championship pedigree. Coleman, phenomenal tonight. Lucic, excellent tonight. If he scores in this building, in this series, that place is going to actually crumble to the ground.
The top will come off.
Yeah. I thought Lewis, again, for him, had a very, very good game. Toffoli was at least a little bit dangerous. He doesn't get on the score sheet, but I thought he played well. The guys who you brought in here for these types of moments stepped up in a big time way. And I thought that helped elevate the rest of the team.
Yeah. I will say, though, the next person I'm looking at, I want to see that boy Callie. I want to see. I want to see a little bit more. Not to say he's playing bad. I think he plays a good defensive game, but I want to see some offense out of him. I just hope for some offense out of him because he seems to be snake bitten right now.
Yeah.
Since he became a Calgary Flame, no goals. So I'm pushing for that boy Callie to get on the score sheet next game, especially in a game where you score 9 and he doesn't even get on the score sheet. I just feel for the guy, I
felt for Dubé. Everyone else's chances are going in. Dubé has point blank ones. It's now you decide to make a save. Fantastic.
Right. Yeah. Dubé had a hell of a game too. Just a lot of good things. And again, we'll finish on the high note.
Yeah.
Maybe a little critical during this episode, but so much to be happy about.
Yes.
There were so many good things that happened and came out of this game that, we obviously talked about, spent a lot of time talking about the bad stuff, but there was so much good too. And that's something to look forward to in this series.
Yeah. Even Markstrom, who we were critical of tonight, the saves he made shorthanded there, when the game was again kind of in the balance and then Calgary is able to capitalize and score. That felt like, again, while Edmonton was still able to come back, that felt like a real switch in that game, and potentially in that series. So there, even the guy we were critical on, we were still able to kind of compliment sandwich that as we close this out today. Audie, as we all catch our breath and get ready for game 2, stupid late on Friday. Where can people find you?
Find me on Twitter at Audie James or on Instagram at Audie James _.
I am at Primetime Klein on Twitter and Instagram, twitch.tv/primetimepk. I've been a little sick, so I haven't been able to do that, but we'll be ramping that up shortly. I also have my own podcast called Couch Potato Diary. All right, that is going to do it from here. We thank you all so very, very much for tuning in, for all the chats and all the tweets during the game. Keep them coming. I don't know what game 2 is going to bring, but I can't wait to talk about it with all of you.
It's going to be fun.
Oh, it's good. It's going to be fun. And it's going to be a lot of things. But mainly it's post-game coverage is going to be right here on Game Over Calgary.